Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, exactly. And today, wow, we are going way back. We're looking at excerpts you sent from The Richest Man in Babylon.
Ancient wisdom. So our mission here really is to see what fundamental financial ideas are tucked away in these old stories.
Right. And what's amazing is how much of it still clicks today. For you listening now, these principles, they're surprisingly relevant.
Absolutely. We're setting the scene in ancient Babylon. People often call it the cradle of, well, a lot of financial ideas we still use.
And it wasn't just the kingdom that was rich. The city itself was known as the wealthiest, apparently because its citizens were wealthy. That's an interesting distinction.
It is. And the book's core message seems to be that, achieving financial success isn't about luck. It's about your own efforts, your own understanding.
It's about having a wise approach, basically. Proper preparation, wise thoughts, understanding that's where it starts.
And the author is pretty clear about the goal.
Yeah.
Helping you, if you're ambitious about finance, to figure out how to acquire money, keep it, and make it grow.
And it apparently resonated. The text mentions practical men, like business leaders, using these ideas successfully. That says something, doesn't it? Real-world application.
It definitely does. Okay, so where do we start this journey into Babylonian finance? Where's the entry point in the material?
We start with a guy named Bansir. He's a chariot builder. Lives in Babylon, richest city, but he's feeling pretty down.
Okay.
We picture him, simple home, there's this unfinished chariot sitting there, and his wife is kind of giving him the look because the meal bag is empty. It really sets a scene.
Yeah, you can picture that. Living in this supposedly wealthy place, but personally, he's tapped out.
It's a huge contrast. You've got the city's wealth, maybe the hanging gardens being built with slaves hauling water for the king's business, and then you have Bansir's empty purse.
Really drives home that disconnect. And this feeling leads him to meet up with his friend, Cobby, right? Musician.
That's him. And they're both singing the same tune, so to speak. Working hard, getting nowhere, feeling like, well, the book says dumb sheep.
Ouch. Despite living in this famous city.
Yeah. And these guys go way back. Learned from priests together, young men having fun, still close friends. That shared history makes their current shared frustration even more potent, I think. For you listening, it makes their search for answers relatable.
And Cobby's got his own financial woes, too, even with his musical talent.
Right. He dreams of a better lyre, something really fine, maybe impress the king. But that's just a fantasy. When they're both basically broke, no better off than the laborers they see working everywhere. Makes you think, how can they be surrounded by wealth and have none?
It's that core question. They see this endless line of workers, and it hits them. They're free men, sure, but financially, not much different.
Exactly. And that sets up the big question they grapple with. Why do some people get rich while others, working just as hard, stay poor? I bet a lot of you have asked that same question.
Definitely. So who's the guy who has figured it out in Babylon? That would be Arkad.
Ah, yes, Arkad, the richest man in Babylon. Is supposedly so wealthy, even the king asks his advice on the treasury. That's serious financial clout.
You're not kidding. And Bansir has this flash of envy, like maybe I could just snatch Arkad's wallet.
Yeah, but Cobby immediately corrects him. Wealth isn't just what's in your purse right now.
That's the key insight, isn't it? This idea of income, a constant flow, something that keeps coming in whether you're working at that exact moment or not.
Yes, it's a total shift. Not just having money, but having a system that generates money. That's a breakthrough for them and hopefully for you listening too.
It really is. And Cobby even remembers something about Arkad's son, Nomasir.
Apparently Nomasir went off to Nineveh and became successful on his own without his dad handing him everything. It suggests Arkad didn't just have wealth, he had wisdom he could pass on.
So the knowledge is transferable. And Arkad himself, he wasn't some greedy old miser.
Not according to the text. Known for being generous charities, family, even spent on himself. But his wealth still grew every year. He'd clearly mastered the whole system. Someone you could definitely learn from.
For sure. And then his old childhood friends show up, right? They're struggling. He's incredibly rich. Perfect setup for him to share his secrets.
Exactly. They want to know how he did it. And unlike some, he seems willing to tell. It's a moment where you really want to lean in and listen.
And his explanation, it's surprisingly normal. No magic, no special birthright.
Right. He says he wasn't born rich, no inheritance, didn't have superior powers or wisdom. He stresses it took time and study. That's pretty encouraging for you if you're feeling like you're starting from scratch.
It really grounds it, makes wealth seem like something achievable, a skill you can learn. And his first job, just a scribe.
Yeah, working long hours in the Hall of Records. But like Bansir, His earnings just vanished on living expenses. Nothing left over. Sound familiar to you?
Rent, food,
Yeah?
gone.
Yeah.
But he didn't just accept it. He hustled, took on extra work carving tablets for this old moneylender, Alchemist.
You can picture it late nights, lamp oil burning low, back aching. Shows real determination.
Definitely. And it's Alchemist who drops the big wisdom bomb, right?
The biggest one. He tells Arkad, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep. Simple sentence, but wow, think about that, you listening. Mine to keep.
That's the heart of it all, isn't it? Paying yourself first. And Alchemist makes it concrete with the 1/10 rule.
Yeah, he asks Arkad, basically, if you save a tenth for 10 years, that's a whole year's earnings saved up, right? Makes you think about the power of consistency.
It really does. But it's not just about piling up coins.
No, Alchemist explains that saved gold becomes like a slave. It can earn more. And then its earnings. The children can earn more too. That's compound growth, basically, described in a really vivid way for you. Your money starts working for you.
And he emphasizes prioritizing that saving before spending on other things. Don't just save what's left over, if anything.
Exactly. Saving comes first. And that analogy he uses, wealth growing like a tree from that first tiny seed, the first copper saved.
Love that one.
It's perfect. Shows you two things. Start early, even small, and keep feeding it consistently with more savings. It's a long game.
So Arkad gets it. He starts saving 1 copper out of every 10, takes that first step, plants the seed. Seems small, but it's the start.
But then comes the next lesson. Alchemist checks in, asks Arkad what he actually did with the savings he'd managed to build up.
This is crucial for you listening. Saving is step 1, but what you do with it matters just as much.
Totally. And Arkad, well, he's pretty pleased with himself. He says he threw a feast, bought wine, cake, a nice new tunic, and he's planning to buy a donkey next.
Enjoying the fruits of his labor a bit too soon, maybe? I think you can relate to that temptation. Save a bit, spend it right away.
Oh, definitely. And Alchemist just lays it out. You eat the children of your savings. How then can they work for you? He tells them, build up your army of golden slaves first before you start spending big. Delay gratification for future power. That's the message for you.
Solid advice. And Alchemist adds more key points too, right? Live on less than you earn.
Seek advice from people who actually know what they're doing with money.
And actively make your savings work. Put them to work.
Those are the pillars. The foundation Alchemist gives Arkad, and really the foundation for your financial journey too. And Alchemist sees Arkad gets it, unlike his own sons who just want to spend. So he trusts Arkad to manage some of his own money. Big step.
Huge vote of confidence. Now, some people might think it just takes sheer willpower to save, but Arkad has a different take.
Yeah, he says willpower isn't some superhuman thing. It's just the unflinching purpose to carry out a task you set for yourself to finish, like picking up 1 pebble every day. Small, consistent actions build that muscle for you.
I like that. Breaks it down. It's about follow through, building trust in yourself. And he also makes this point that wealth isn't static, it circulates. Even a rich guy building a palace puts money into the hands of workers and suppliers. Good point for you to consider economically.
Right. So the core advice he gives his old friends, the reason they came to him, it basically boils down to this for you. Keep a part of what you earn. First, aim for at least a 10th. Budget the rest. Then learn how to make your savings grow.
And be careful who you take advice from.
Oh, yeah. Crucial. Seek out people with proven experience. He warns them and you about risky schemes, mentioning his own screw-up with Adji, the brickmaker, and those fake jewels. Better safe than sorry.
But it's not about being miserable either. He says enjoy life, don't kill yourself trying to save too much. If 1/10 works comfortably for you, start there. Find the balance.
Exactly. And that core idea, the one that changed everything for Arkad and Alchemist, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Simple words, huge impact if you consistently apply it. It's about claiming your right to your own earnings.
And this idea catches on, right? Even reaches the king.
Yeah, incredibly. The king of Babylon gets concerned that only a few people seem to know how to build wealth, and it's getting concentrated. He wants Babylon to be wealthy because many citizens are wealthy. Think about what that means for a society, for the one you live in.
Smart king. Understands that widespread prosperity makes the whole kingdom stronger. So he asks Arkad to teach others.
And Arkad agrees. He says, yeah, these principles aren't secrets. They're practical skills anyone, including you, can learn. So the king orders him to teach a class of 100 chosen citizens. Imagine getting into that class.
Seriously. So they gather in the Temple of Learning, nice touch, emphasizing knowledge, and Arkad starts by reminding them, like we've discussed for you, that he started with nothing. But he figured out these 7 remedies for a lean purse.
The core strategies. And his plan is simple. 1 remedy a day for 7 days. He wants them and you to listen, debate, discuss, really let the ideas sink in. Plant that seed of wealth.
But first things first, he tells them they each need to build their own fortune before they go teaching others. Practice what you preach.
Lead by example. Makes sense. You got to walk the walk. So what's the very first cure Arkad shares?
First cure, start fattening your purse. Straightforward. He talks to a scribe, a butcher in the group points out their jobs already give them a stream of gold, their earnings. Then he uses that great egg merchant analogy.
Yeah, the basket. Put 10 eggs in, only take out 9.
Yeah.
Actually, it overflows. Simple math, powerful visual for you.
It really is. So the remedy is clear. For every 10 coins you put in your purse, take out only 9 to use. He even says when he did this, he managed fine on the 9/10, and it felt like money came easier. Like law of the gods, he calls it. Reliable for you.
And he makes that distinction again. Spending gives you temporary pleasure, but saving and growing your money builds lasting wealth and future income streams for you. Think long term.
Okay, so cure 1 is about creating that positive cash flow. What's the logical next step? Cure 2.
Cure 2. Control your expenditures. This tackles that common feeling. But I need all my money just to live. Arkad drops a truth bomb that probably feels familiar to you. What we think of as necessary expenses tends to magically expand to eat up whatever income we have unless we actively stop it, like financial Parkinson's law.
Lifestyle creep. It's real. So Arkad says you have to get serious about separating real needs, food, shelter, basics from just desires or wants, because our wants will always outrun our money if we let them.
So his solution: budgeting. Figure out your actual necessary costs. But here's the key twist. Treat that 1/10 you're saving as your #1 priority, your most important desire. Then structure the rest of the budget around that goal for you.
Yeah.
Prioritize your future self.
It flips the script. Savings first, then figure out the rest. And if someone complains budgeting feels like slavery?
Arkad has an analogy for that too. Even a donkey carrying a load can choose whether it carries useful hay and grain or just heavy, useless jewels. The choice of how you manage your financial load is yours.
Good point. So a budget isn't about restriction, it's about control. It helps your purse grow, covers the true essentials, and helps you achieve your big goals by protecting them from small, impulsive wants. It finds the leaks.
Exactly. Gain control, direct your money where you really want it to go. Now, Cure 3 builds right on that. You've saved some money, you've controlled your spending. What next?
Cure 3. Make your gold multiply. Just saving isn't enough, Arkad says. The real wealth building happens when your savings start earning more money for you. He hints at his own early mistake here, the bad investment.
Right, the brickmaker story again.
Yeah.
But he also mentions his first good investment, lending money to Agar, the shield maker, who needed it for his business supplies, investing in a productive enterprise.
That's the key concept here, investing, putting your money to work for you. Arkad stresses that real wealth isn't just the pile of coins, it's the income stream your investments create. That golden stream refilling your purse even when you're not actively working. How powerful would that passive income be for you?
Incredibly powerful. That's the dream for many. And Arkad learned from those early loans, like with Agar, how to invest wisely and grow his capital. It's a learning curve for you too.
So Cure 3 is about getting your money working, reproducing itself, which leads naturally to Cure 4, protecting what you've built.
Cure 4, guard your treasures from loss. This is a big warning. Don't get lured in by deals that sound too good to be true, promising huge, fast returns. Misfortune loves a shining mark, he says. The #1 rule of investing. Protect your principal. Don't risk losing everything just chasing big gains, you listening.
So important. Be prudent, be skeptical. He says you need to check out anyone you lend to. Can they repay? Do they have a good reputation? Don't let your savings disappear because someone else messes up or is dishonest.
And this is where he tells the full story of his own blunder, trusting Asmur the brickmaker to buy jewels, which turned out to be worthless glass. A painful lesson for him, a valuable warning for you. Don't invest in things you don't understand with people you don't know.
And the solution: seek advice. Talk to people who actually have a track record of handling money successfully. Their experience is incredibly valuable, often freely given, and can save you from costly mistakes. Leverage their knowledge.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got save, control spending, invest, and protect. What's Cure 5?
Cure 5. Make of your dwelling a profitable investment. Interesting angle. Arcad suggests that if part of the money you use for living expenses, that 9/10 can be turned into an investment without harming your well-being, your wealth grows even faster. How could that apply to your housing?
Well, he looks around Babylon and sees lots of people renting, maybe not great places, paying high rent. He strongly advises that everyone should try to own their own home.
Own the roof over your head. And he mentions the king expanding the city walls made land more affordable, and moneylenders were willing to help finance home purchases, especially if you had already saved up a down payment. Shows it was possible even then.
And the long-term payoff for you. Owning reduces your ongoing housing costs eventually, freeing up more money for other things, pleasures, more investments. You're building equity, not just paying rent.
It's a shift from renter to owner. Big step towards stability and more financial options for you. Okay, Cure 6 moves towards future planning.
Cure 6. Ensure a future income. This is about the long view. Life goes on, Arcad reminds us. You get older, maybe you can't work the same way. You need to plan for that. And you need to provide for your family if something happens to you. This is about making sure you have a full purse later in life and protecting your loved ones.
He gives an example, right? Encouraging a young man to put aside small, regular amounts with a moneylender over many years.
Exactly. Shows how even modest, consistent savings can grow significantly over time thanks to compounding. It creates that crucial safety net for the future for you.
It's about taking responsibility for the long haul, for yourself and your family, making sure there are resources down the road no matter what happens to you. So, what's the final piece of the puzzle? Cure 7.
The 7th cure. Increase your ability to earn. This is all about investing in yourself. Cultivate your skills, get wiser, become better at what you do. Unlock your full potential to create more value for you.
He mentions a young guy wanting a loan but having no real earning power beyond basic needs. Shows that demonstrating your ability to earn is key to building trust and getting opportunities. He also mentions being thoughtful towards loved ones, strengthening relationships.
So Cure 7 is really about self-improvement, lifelong learning, acting with integrity. And Arcad wraps up by saying, there's plenty of wealth in Babylon for everyone who follows these truths. He urges them, and by extension, you could go practice these principles and share them so everyone can benefit.
Powerful stuff. Now, the book doesn't stop there. It dives into something everyone wonders about: luck. There's a whole section. Meet the goddess of good luck.
Ah, yes, that universal desire to be lucky, just as strong back then as it is for you today. And the big question is, can you actually do anything to attract good luck?
The discussion happens back in the Temple of Learning, that public space for sharing wisdom. Arcad even had his own spot there for discussions. Creates this image of a real community of learning you can picture.
And what kicks off the luck debate? A simple cloth weaver finds a purse of gold, just stumbles upon it.
Wow, talk about lucky.
Right, and it sparks this whole conversation. Is luck just random chance? Or is there a goddess Ashtar who rewards people she likes? What do you think listening to this? Where does luck come from?
Arcad kind of guides the discussion, doesn't he? First, he points out finding treasure like that without effort, pretty rare.
Good point. Then he steers it towards where people think they can find luck. The gaming tables, the chariot races,
Right.
Popular spots in Babylon like casinos or sports betting for you today.
And the feedback on gambling is pretty honest. One guy admits the goddess never seemed to notice him at the tables.
Huh. And Arcad makes the logical point. In any game of chance, the odds are fundamentally against the player. The house always has the edge. That's a structural reality for you to remember.
He then contrasts that with honest work like farming or trading. There, he argues, your chances of making a profit over time are generally in your favor, even with occasional bad luck or setbacks. Big difference for you to weigh up.
And he asks that killer question. Does money won gambling ever lead to lasting wealth? Arcad says he doesn't know anyone who built real, enduring success that way. Suggests it's maybe not a solid foundation for you.
Then the conversation takes an interesting turn, thinking about successes we almost enjoyed, missed opportunities. Maybe that's where luck shows up.
Yeah, no merchant tells this sad story. He missed a great investment in land with water wheels because he just procrastinated. His father had even told him years before to invest 1/10 of his earnings. A reminder for you to act on good advice.
Then there's the animal buyer who hesitated on buying camels and the good deal disappeared. Arcad calls procrastination an internal enemy, stopping you from grabbing opportunities.
So true. And Arcad himself says his success isn't luck, it's applying sound principles consistently. The cloth weaver who started the whole discussion, He gets it. He realizes luck seems to follow opportunity in action, not just waiting around.
So Arcad's conclusion is basically you can entice good luck by being ready and willing to act when opportunity knocks. The goddess favors men of action. It's about creating your own luck, in a way, for you.
It's a proactive view, which leads nicely into the next section, the 5 laws of gold. These are presented as even more codified principles, passed down from Arcad to his son Nomasir, and then told by someone named Calabog, a real chain of wisdom.
And the setting is great travelers around a campfire. Calabog starts with a choice. Big bag of gold, or a clay tablet with wisdom. Everyone yells gold. Predictable, maybe. What would you choose right then?
Easy to say wisdom now, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, Calabog uses this image of hungry dogs fighting over scraps, no thought for tomorrow. Shows the short-sightedness of grabbing the immediate reward over the knowledge that creates lasting wealth for you. He says gold is reserved for those who know its laws, understand the rules.
So Calabog promises to share Arcad's wisdom via Nomasir. The story shifts to Nomasir telling his parents in Nineveh what he learned, applying the lessons in a new place.
Nomasir decided to go to Nineveh, this growing city, to make his own way. But he quickly learns some hard lessons. Gets tricked into betting on a losing horse. First mistake, bad judgment. A lesson for you.
Then he trusts a supposedly friendly guy with a business idea that fails miserably, leaves Nomasir broke. Second mistake, trusting the wrong people. Bad plans. More lessons for you.
But then things turn around. He meets a kind, experienced gold lender who gives him solid advice. Make your saved gold work for you. Reinforces that need for wise counsel we talked about, right? For you too.
Definitely. And it's through these hard knocks that Nomasir truly understands his father's 5 laws of gold. So what are they? These core rules.
Okay, Law 1. Gold comes gladly and grows for anyone who saves at least 1/10 of their earnings for their future and their family. Back to that fundamental pay yourself first idea for you.
Law 2. Gold works diligently for the wise owner who finds profitable work for it, making it multiply. Active, smart investment for you.
Law 3. Gold clings to the cautious owner who invests it only under the advice of people skilled in its handling. Protects it from loss for you.
Law 4. Gold slips away from the person who invests in businesses or purposes they don't understand or which aren't recommended by experts. Stick to what you know or get advice.
And Law 5. Gold flees the person who tries to force it into impossible earnings, follows slick-talking tricksters, or trusts their own inexperience and romantic wishes in investing. Avoid greed and get-rich-quick thinking for you.
Those are pretty clear. And Nomasir proves they work. He returns to his father not just with the gold he started with, but 2 extra bags earned by applying these laws. Arcad is thrilled his son learned the wisdom.
And Calabog brings it back to his listeners around the fire, asking about their financial knowledge. He says wealth comes from following these laws, not magic. It's not luck.
It's gradual, built on knowledge and persistence. That's the message for you.
Exactly. Calabog repeats the 5 laws, driving home their meaning for anyone, including you, seeking financial security. A timeless code.
The next section zooms in on lending, with the gold lender of Babylon. We meet Rodan, a spear maker who got 50 gold pieces from the king. Smart guy, he goes to Matham, the gold lender, for advice on what to do with it, not just to ask for more money.
Matham is impressed. Someone wants wisdom, not just cash. He agrees to share. He starts with a story, an ox and a donkey, basically saying, if you cover for someone else's responsibilities too much, it can backfire. Foster self-reliance. Good point for you.
Matham then shares his lending philosophy. People borrowing for things that will generate income, usually reliable. People borrowing because they messed up. Be very careful. Assess the situation, you listening.
He illustrates this with stories from his token chest, each token a past loan. There's the rug weaver, always repaid on time, business-generated income, a sound loan for you to recognize.
But then there's the kid sent to buy jewels with borrowed money who got robbed. Lending to inexperience for speculation is risky for you. And the lady who insisted on a loan for her clueless son, despite Mathathon's warnings. Emotional lending clouds judgment for you.
Contrasted with Nebatur, the camel trader, solid judgment, reliable borrower, ideal customer. But then another warning. The young guy whose dad offered security, but the kid's own risky schemes led to failure. Immaturity is a risk, even with backup, for you.
Still, Mathon isn't against borrowing. He says wise borrowing for good reasons is important for the economy. He gives Rodan specific advice about his brother-in-law wanting a loan to be a merchant. Check his knowledge, his plan, and demand security to protect the loan. Sound advice for you if you're ever asked for a loan.
Mathon's whole approach is about safe repayment and reliable earnings, avoiding big risks. It's prudent wealth management.
He observes that lots of people want to borrow without a clear repayment plan, just hoping for quick, easy money, a trap for you to avoid.
So Mathon tells Rodin, treat your 50 gold pieces like you're the lender. Protect it, make sure it earns safely, make it grow. Associate with successful people, learn from them. Good advice for you.
And his last warning to Rodin: keep quiet about the money and watch out for all the tempting get-rich-quick offers that will surely come his way. Be discerning with your finances, you listening.
Then the focus shifts slightly with The Walls of Babylon. It's less about personal finance directly, more about protection, but you can see the analogy for protecting your assets, right? For you. It tells of a surprise attack by the Assyrians.
Right when Babylon's allies were away, panic in the city. The walls were crucial.
And this old soldier, Banzar, keeps reassuring everyone. The walls of Babylon will protect you. That faith in their defenses calms people down, helps you appreciate the value of security.
The siege lasts for weeks, tough times, wounded soldiers. But in the end,
the Assyrians retreat. The walls held. The lesson for you is clear. Adequate protection against threats, physical or financial, is essential.
Next, we meet Dabasir, the camel trader. His story, told to hungry Turcod, is powerful. It's about overcoming debt and finding true freedom. And Dabasir reveals he was once a slave, gives you insight into Babylonian society.
He escaped, nearly died in the desert. That ordeal was a turning point. He realized having the soul of a free man meant facing his past, going back to Babylon to pay his debts and earn respect. Real integrity there for you.
And Sira, one of the master's wives who also felt trapped, played a role in his thinking.
Yeah, her situation helped him see his own path. His journey back was tough, but he was determined. He saw debts as enemies, but creditors as friends who trusted him. And his motto, where determination is, the way can be found. Powerful message for you facing challenges.
And his story leads into the clay tablets from Babylon. This connects the past to the, well, more recent past. We meet Professor Caldwell getting letters from Shrewsbury, an archaeologist. Brings it closer for you.
Shrewsbury finds these amazing clay tablets detailing Dabasir's step-by-step plan to pay off his debts after returning from slavery. And Shrewsbury is struck by how modern these ancient financial struggles feel. Resonates today for you.
So Shrewsbury tries Dabasir's plan himself. The tablets lay it out. Tablet 1, Dabasir's resolve, guided by Morandan, his 3-part plan, 100/10 for future savings, 200/10 to pay debts, 7/10 for living, plus a list of all his debts. Organized approach for you.
Tablet 2, first month, earns 19 silver. Allocates it exactly. Some creditors are pushy, others understanding. Realistic picture for you dealing with debt.
Tablet 3, dealing with the impatient ones, sticking to the plan, paying everyone fairly. Consistency is key for you.
Tablet 4, another month, 19 silver again. Same allocation. Most creditors are happy now, just one grump left. And importantly, his total debt is going down. The plan is working for you to see. Tablet 5, big month, 42 silver. Pays more to creditors. Even the grumpy one is quiet. The plan is clearly leading him out of debt and building savings for you.
3 months later, he's saved 21 silver. Feeling proud, wife's happy. He sees the plan is making him an honorable man again. Shows the psychological benefit for you.
Tablet 6. 1 year in. Final debt paid. Celebration time. His old creditors forgive him. Value his friendship now. Trust rebuilt through responsibility. A lesson for you.
Dabasir ends by recommending his plan to anyone wanting independence, convinced it will make him rich. Compelling testimony for you.
And then the payoff. The second letter from Professor Shrewsbury a year later. He's overcome with gratitude. He and his wife followed Dabasir's plan, got out of debt, ended years of worry. They lived on 70%, saved 10%, paid 20% to debt, then invested the savings. Financial security. He's amazed at the difference between drifting and having a plan, just like you could experience. They vowed to never spend more than 70% again. Powerful commitment.
Amazing story. The final narrative is The Luckiest Man in Babylon. Features Sharunada, a rich merchant prince traveling with Hadan Gula, his late partner's grandson. Sharu feels responsible for the kid.
Yeah, and he's worried. Hadan Gula is a spender. His dad mismanaged their money. Sharu sees a bad pattern he wants to break for the young man.
And Hadan Gula has this attitude, right? Why work so hard? Just enjoy the money. Work was made for slaves, he says. Big clash of values there.
Totally. So Sharunada decides to teach him a lesson. Their journey takes them past a field.
Where Sharunada sees these old men plowing the same field he worked as a slave 40 years ago, hits him hard. He remembers being chained with others, Megiddo, Zabato, pirate building the king's walls. Gives you a raw look at that reality.
He tells Hadan Gula how he became a slave brother's crime, father couldn't pay the bond. describes the brutal work.
But things changed. He got bought by a kind baker, Manonade, who let him earn money selling honey cakes. A small chance, a bit of hope.
And during that time, he met Aradgula Hadangula's grandfather, who was a rug merchant then. Arad encouraged Shahru's little business. Shows the power of mentorship for you.
Shahru also sadly remembers seeing Zabato, his old fellow slave, totally broken, still on the walls. A grim reminder.
Then Shahru drops the bombshell. Aradgula, Hadangula's respected grandfather, was also a slave back then, working as a rug merchant. Hadangula is furious, his image shattered.
But Shahru uses it to make a point. Look how resilient Aradgula was. Rose above it, became a respected citizen. He challenges Hadangula, do you have that kind of strength? A tough question for you to ponder, too.
And Shahru explains the system. Many merchants in Babylon were slaves, but could still build wealth through hard work. Shows that status wasn't always a barrier to financial progress for you to note.
Shahru also mentions seeing the horrible execution of Pirate, another slave, and his own setback losing his savings gambling. Even hard workers make mistakes. A point for you.
Then he was sold again, forced into labor building the Grand Canal. Awful work. But then
Aradgula finds him, buys his freedom, takes him on as a partner in the rug business. Incredible act of faith and generosity. A massive turning point.
And Shahru says clearly, his escape, his partnership, it all came down to his willingness to work. That was his key.
Hadangula asks, so work was my grandfather's key? And Shahru says, absolutely. It was his main tool, he enjoyed it, and it brought rewards and respect. Completely flips Hadangula's view of labor.
Hadangula finally gets it. Work brought his grandfather friends, honor, success. It wasn't something to avoid, it was the source. Big realization for him, maybe for you too.
Shahru finishes by saying, yeah, life has pleasures, but work has its own unique value for him. They arrive in Babylon. Shahru is greeted with honor.
And seeing that, hearing the story, Hadangula is changed. Admires his grandfather anew, vows to follow his example. He finally understands the real key wasn't luck or status, it was effort. A great lesson for you.
Okay, to wrap all this context together, the book provides a historical sketch of Babylon. Gives us a setting. Dry valley, but fertile thanks to amazing irrigation from the Euphrates. Early engineering marvels.
Which meant huge crops, the basis of their economy. The sketch also notes Babylon often had wise kings focused on enterprise and justice, not just conquest. Create a stable environment for business. Good for you to remember the importance of that.
But empires fall. Babylon eventually declined, got abandoned, buried under dust for centuries. Its name almost forgotten until archaeologists dug it up. Reminder that nothing lasts forever.
And it emphasizes how old Babylonian civilization is. Records going back 8,000 years, dated using things like eclipses, predates a lot of other famous ancient cultures.
More on their engineering, those complex irrigation and drainage systems, essential for farming in the city.
Yeah, the historian Herodotus, writing later, described it as incredibly fertile land, massive harvests. Confirms that reputation.
And their record-keeping, those clay tablets with cuneiform writing, baked hard. We found whole libraries. That's how we have these stories as financial wisdom for you today.
The sketch also describes the legendary walls of Babylon, one of the seven wonders. Huge, thick, rebuilt over time. Chariots could race on top. Now mostly ruins, but imagine them.
And they worked. Babylon withstood many sieges. Its eventual fall to Cyrus wasn't because the walls failed, but because the gates were open from inside. Interesting twist.
So the city itself crumbled, but the wisdom, especially the financial principles developed there, has lasted and still speaks to you.
And finally, a bit about George S. Clason, the author. The book started as pamphlets using these Babylonian parables to teach thrift and financial success. He coined "pay yourself first," had a huge impact.
Okay, so drawing all this together from our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon, what are the big takeaways, the core themes for you listening?
Well, number one has to be the power of saving a part of everything you earn. That pay yourself first mantra is everywhere. And controlling spending through budgeting, knowing needs versus wants.
Definitely. Then, making your savings work for you through smart investing, understanding compounding, aiming for that passive income, and crucially, protecting your capital. Don't take foolish risks. Seek good advice.
We also saw the idea of your home as an investment, planning for the future retirement, family security, and always working to increase your own earning ability through skills and learning.
And that whole discussion about luck versus principle. Real wealth, lasting wealth, isn't about chance. It's about understanding and applying these sound financial rules. Gambling is fleeting. Knowledge and effort build security for you.
So, the final thought for you, our listener, after hearing all this ancient wisdom. Which one of these cures for a lean purse or laws of gold hits closest to home for you right now? What's one small thing, one concrete action you could take today, right now, to start putting one of these timeless ideas into practice? We really encourage you to think about that, explore these principles further, and see how they might impact your own financial journey.